the last class, if you remember, the notes are already in front of you. In the last class, what we ended, where we stopped, is that we have understood that if our the flow is over a flat plate, okay, if the flow is over a flat plate and isothermal flat plate, so what could be the hydrodynamic boundary layer thickness, which actually depends on the local Reynolds number at that position and the distance from the leading edge. At the same time, we understood that this relation also can be developed. Basically, what happens, the solutions, we have not gone into the details, but the point is that it can be it is actually solved by Blasius, if you remember, I told you, but then there are several improvements has happened, several numerical techniques have been developed. It has been solved. These equations, basically the set of equations with these boundary conditions, has been solved widely, and then it can be shown that this is the boundary hydrodynamic boundary layer thickness, and this is our local skin friction coefficient. Now the point is, this step comes before, because from here or from this relation, you basically get the local friction factor. So this stress, the wall shear stress, is basically has, because this why I'm writing this expression, because this is also important, is this thing. So basically this wall shear stress, we have this expression when there is a flow over a isothermal flat plate. Well, we have followed the standard, this conventional nomenclature. Rho is the density, infinity is the free stream velocity, and this is the Reynolds number, local Reynolds number. Fine. Now from here we can get these expressions, because we know this local friction factor is nothing but divided by rho u squared by 2. You replace it here, you get this expression. So the bottom line from the last class was that this local friction factor, we see that it decreases, okay, along the length or along the distance from the leading edge of the plate as you go in the x direction, but the boundary layer thickness increases. Okay, so now we mentioned that we will now see that how to have the energy equation. Okay, because these are the hydrodynamic boundary layer cases. So how do we get the energy expressions, or say how do we now estimate that what would be my thermal boundary layer thickness? Okay, so what happens that we typically say non-dimensionalize the whole problem. Okay, so we try to find out the process in order to reduce the number of variables that are involved in the problem in a consolidated manner. So by now you all have possibly understood that what is the utility of a non-dimensional number. Just to be sure, so can you tell me that what do you understand when we express something in non-dimensional form? What is its utility?
Sir, it gives us a bound variable which is from 0 to 1.
Not necessarily. I mean, non-dimensionalizing a problem, yes. I mean, say something in the X and Y domain, we try to bound it. But trying to find out the similarity parameter, say the Reynolds number. Okay, so why is it so? But why is it convenient to express a flow in terms of Reynolds number?
We don't have to bother about any units.
That is sure. And in units, and how that helps? So how this helps basically?
So then the result doesn't depend on various parameters.
Actually,
So
Thus,
for example, yeah,
dimensionless
yeah.
number reducer
like
like number of
Reynolds
variables.
like this depends on density, velocity, length, etc. But like if we make it dimensionless, then we just have to worry about let's say one of the things, maybe geometry only.
Close enough. So point is that say this Reynolds number dependent on the geometry as well as the fluid properties. Okay. Now say if you are doing some experiments with water and you have to tell the same phenomena when the fluid is changed to or the liquid is changed to kerosene. Okay. Now if your Reynolds number is same, the geometry is same, then you can expect the similar flow behavior, or that you can predict that similar behavior would happen. So you need not bother about individual fluid property here, like it is mentioned, its velocity, its density, its viscosity. You need not spell out specifically that these are the things. If you tell that the Reynolds number is identical for both the fluids, geometry is same, the flow predictions would be identical, or the flow similarity would be there. So for that, the governing equations that we have seen for the boundary layers are basically what happened that we non-dimensionalize. Okay, and now when we do that, okay, so say the energy equation that we have. Okay, so energy equation, if you remember, the energy equation we had is U del x plus is equals to okay. So now say we define a non-dimensional parameter which is of t is equals to say the theta. We define instead of t, we define that parameter as theta. T at an unknown position minus the surface temperature divided by free stream temperature minus surface temperature. Okay, so this is the surface temperature, this is the free stream temperature. And we define this non-dimensional parameter as the theta. Okay, now if we replace this here, and we notice here that this denominator is basically a constant value because T infinity is a free stream temperature, which is usually constant for a fluid flow, and Ts is the surface temperature. If it's isothermal surface, then this is a constant value. So if we replace this, what we have here okay, and then we further non-dimensionalize the domain. And say in other, there are several similarity parameters that we find out. We are not going into the details, but what will happen that if we solve this problem for a non-dimensional domain and a non-dimensional problem, what happens that we ended up a situation that it can be solved basically. But what happens here, you have you know what is Prandtl number. So what would be Prandtl number? What is Prandtl number?
So it was momentum diffusivity by thermal diffusivity.
Momentum diffusivity by thermal diffusivity. That means if I say this is nu by alpha. Okay, so what will happen in this part? You will have this momentum diffusivity term after non-dimensionalizing this part. And eventually, what you would find that it creates a form, say further, if I further consider that eta is a non-dimensional parameter that relates with this x, y, and the stream function or the say the streamline of the flow. So what it does is basically comes to a form which is something like Prandtl number. Then we have a function of f of dt is equals to 0. So basically what we'll have, we then come across this non-dimensional parameter, the introduction of Prandtl number in the energy equation. And if we solve it, we have to solve for different values of Prandtl number in this equation, where again eta is a non-dimensional parameter. We will not go into the detail, but the point is that it would have a form. The energy equation will have a non-dimensional form consisting Prandtl number. And for each and every Prandtl number, this equation can be solved. Okay. Now it has been seen, or it has been shown that if the Prandtl number, okay, for say values greater than 0.6, the relation we have is that 332 Prandtl number to the power 1/3. So this del theta or dou theta by dou eta, okay, is a function, is proportional basically to the Prandtl number to the power 1/3. The reason we are specifically mentioning this because for the rest of the convection problem, you'd see these coefficients are appearing. Or say on the right hand side, you would see the Nusselt number is related with Prandtl number and Reynolds number. We will see that how it happened. But the coefficients you did not memorize. If you remember this, that why it came, you would see that automatically those coefficients would be there. So for example, in the last case, you have seen that there is a coefficient, okay, with the boundary layer thickness that relates with the Reynolds number with a 1/2 or half, or say minus half in this case. So half, 1/3, this type of numbers you would see frequently. So now the point is that in the energy equation, so non-dimensional energy equation for the boundary layer, if we solve it analytically after a couple of assumptions like here, that if we consider the flows with Prandtl number only greater than 0.6, okay, what we have is that the Nusselt number is equals to, which we can write, Nusselt number is why I write hx. Yes. So the point is that hx by k. This is the local Nusselt number. Local means at any position x from the leading edge, at that local position, where it is equals to the convective heat transfer coefficient at that position multiplied by the x, which is the leading, the distance from the leading edge, divided by the thermal conductivity. is equals to 0.332 Prandtl number to the power 1/3 and Reynolds number, the local Reynolds number to the power half for Prandtl number greater than 0.6. Now this relation that the local Reynolds number is equals to 0.332 Prandtl number to the power 1/3 Reynolds number to the power half. This relation, it has been seen that it matches well with the experimental results as well, or say the measured values. So the point is that if we solve this equation, non-dimensional energy equation, okay, if we solve it for the temperature profile, which is the theta, and if we use the definition of, say, the thermal boundary layer, okay, it has been shown. I mean, now you can see that here the similar relation, the similar coefficient values were obtained. 0.332 this factor. Okay, this is for the hydrodynamic boundary layer. Similarly, for the thermal boundary layer, what we see that Nusselt number is having the same coefficients and the similar parameters. So the point is that deductions are made to show that this delta T by delta, or say the delta by delta T, is equals to 1 by Prandtl number to the fourth, which means, in other words, you can say that delta T is equals to delta by Prandtl number to the power 1/3. So the relation between the thermal boundary layer thickness and the hydrodynamic boundary layer thickness. This relation is valid for only laminar flow over an isothermal flat plate. Okay, so this relation, we can write that hydrodynamic boundary layer thickness is equals to the thermal boundary layer thickness multiplied by Prandtl number to the power 1/3 is valid for laminar flow over an isothermal flat plate. Now, quite naturally, if the Prandtl number 1, the thickness or the hydrodynamic boundary layer and the thermal boundary layer are identical. If it is not 1, depending on the value of Prandtl number, you can tell that when there is a flow over an isothermal flat plate, which thickness would be higher or larger or thicker, which boundary layer. Fine. Any question?
But sir, if like Prandtl number is 1, but thermal boundary layer like keeps on decreasing with x, and hydrodynamic boundary layer that keeps on increasing till a certain value. So how that at any point it can be same?
Why it is decreasing? Why you were saying why it is decreasing?
So that was the
thermal boundary layer.
I told it according to temperature profile.
At any given positions, yes. So what is the relation between the thermal boundary layer and say the X? I mean, why you were saying that the thermal boundary layer would decrease with X?
Well, like I saw that temperature profile according to that atom.
Where you saw?
In the previous lecture, you just have given that.
Yes.
Like it was very in the beginning, very beginning.
No, that was a schematic. That schematic was a representation that since we didn't know that which one would be thicker or which one would be thinner, so that's why I drew that time.
Okay, sir.
Did you get my point? I possibly have purposefully drew like this kind of a thing. That one of the this boundary layer thickness is delta T, and this is the delta, because we didn't know the relation then. Now the relation comes with the Prandtl number.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now the point is that, again, since you appreciate the scenario of having similarity parameters, of understanding similarity parameters, the reason for that is that I mentioned that you do an experiment, okay, with water at a certain Reynolds number. Okay, if your geometry is similar, okay, the geometry is similar, it need not be identical. For example, you have a smaller pipe where this diameter is D1. The other pipe is capital D1, say. The capital D1 is greater than small d1. You did your experiment with water in this small d1. Someone asked you that what would be the values that you have calculated for water in this case with a different fluid for capital D1. If the Reynolds number are identical, the geometry shape is similar. Okay, then what will happen? You will have the same value of friction coefficient in both the cases. And that is the utility of having a non-dimensional number, so that you basically reduce a substantial number of parameters or variables into a consolidated form. So you group a large number of experiments when you report in say a conventional non-dimensional form that is more consolidated in nature. So the point is that, so for example, so how do we non-dimensionalize the dimension, or say the domain? So typically what happens when we try to do that, say the x direction, we try to non-dimensionalize. If the this star marks or the asterisk marks are for the non-dimensional values, we divide that with a characteristic length. So say, for example, this is my flat plate of having length L. Any distance here, x, is this thing. So we non-dimensionalize that. The point from the leading edge, the distance from the leading edge anywhere is x, and divided by the total length or the characteristic length of the domain. So similarly, we can write for all the variables. So for example, this u, what we can typically do is divided by the free stream velocity. Okay, so v, similarly, at any positions, we write the free stream velocity. Pressure, how do we do that? How do we do that? Pressure, what is the conventional non-dimensionalizing parameter? We do it
P by P atmosphere.
Like P atmosphere, say we do not do. in terms of flowing property is the rho u square, rho free stream velocity square. And the temperature, I already told you, T at any point, particularly referring to our problem that is of flat plate, minus this. So now if you remember the continuity equation, momentum equation, and energy equation, all those can be non-dimensionalized based on these terms, because all those equations involve u, v, x, and t. So I think here on this state I showed you, if not yeah, so these are the things. So these are the governing equations. Okay, so this is the energy equation that we have seen. It involves T, X, Y, and U. These are the generic energy equations with viscous dissipation. So the point is that if the flow is laminar, there is no viscous dissipation. Okay, then what happens? The continuity equation, after replacing these non-dimensional parameters, would look like V star is equals to 0. Okay, the momentum equation would look like plus V star is equals to here is 1 by Reynolds number this is boundary layer we are writing, and we are concerned about the pressure gradient after the boundary layer approximation. So everything we are making non-dimensional. So similarly, if we look at the energy equation, that would have a form which is equals to 1 by Reynolds number, Prandtl number, square. Continuity equation, momentum equation, and this is our energy equation. Along with, now if we want to solve this, we have to write the boundary equation, boundary conditions. So that also can be non-dimensionalized easily. Okay, so for example, one of such I am writing is that the u at 0x or x is equals to 0, it is 1. Remember, this is flat plate, this is the leading edge, x is 0 or x star is 0. Here you have u free stream. So at x is equals to 0, at any y or non-dimensional y, okay, u is equals to u stream. That is why it is 1. Because here we have non-dimensionalized that by dividing u infinity. Clear? So all the dimensional thing that we have written in this case, all these that we have shown on the last class, all these boundary conditions also can be non-dimensionalized based on those parameters. Okay, so we see that it automatically introduces the Prandtl number in the energy equation. Which is nothing but mu by alpha, momentum diffusivity by thermal diffusivity. So what we can see from this equation, okay, is that if we try to write, or if you try to find out the functional form of friction, or say the friction factor, friction coefficient, okay, what you can write? How do we get friction coefficient? How do we get friction coefficient? Friction coefficient means CFX. How is it related with shear stress that we are doing always?
That was tau divided by
Tau at the wall of the surface divided by the rho friction. Okay, fine. So now what is this value? This is nothing but dy at y is equals to 0. Agreed?
yes.
This is tau s. So now if you further replace these things that we have just got it, that instead of u, you write it in terms of u star. That means you try to non-dimensionalize it. Instead of y, you replace that y with y star multiplied by L. Okay, once you do that and you just simply rearrange, what you'd get is something like this. At y star is equals to 0. Okay,
Yes, sir.
agreed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this U star, okay, so the U star, if you look at it, the U star is basically what we can write for a given geometry, what it would be if we find a solution for U star. By logic, what we have, that U star is a function of the geometry and the Reynolds number. Agreed? The velocity profile would depend on, this is called the functional form, that it is a function of the domain domain dimension X and Y and the Reynolds number. Instead of writing its density, its viscosity and velocity, so it would be essentially a function of these three parameters. Do you agree or not? Agreed?
Yes, sir.
So now, so that means this function that we have come across, or the tau shear, or the shear at the wall, is basically what we can write is basically mu u infinity by L, and is a function of X star and Reynolds number, because it is at y0, thinking of this gradient and this relation. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now again we go back here. So now this is my tau s. So the shear stress is a function of the distance from the leading edge and the Reynolds number. We replace this in this expression. So what we have, this coefficient, most of the part are eliminated except this u part. Okay, so what we have is that if once we replace it by L, and it is a function of X star and REL divided by rho square by 2, which means 2 Reynolds number and say another function which is now clubbed with say this is fine. Function of it is just the elimination of few parameters in this expression. So 2 by REL multiplied by function of X star and Reynolds number. Further, someone can write X star REL. Where basically this has been clubbed with this function, so that f is now f1 are different function X star and L. So what we conclude, that the friction coefficient for a given geometry can be expressed in terms of the Reynolds number and say a dimensional space variable instead of writing a particular position. Clear? So that is why here you see this expression. We had the friction coefficient as a function of Reynolds number. The local friction factor, friction coefficient is dependent only on the local Reynolds number. So similarly, if we look at this here is my energy equation. Okay, so this is my energy equation. If we look at the energy equation, what we can write or what we can think of, that T star, the non-dimensional temperature, is basically, say, another function of domain boundaries, Reynolds number, and Prandtl number. The Reynolds number, Prandtl number, x, y. Based on these functions or these variables, I can find out my non-dimensional temperature. Now, if you think of the definition of H, the convection heat transfer coefficient, what we wrote is del T y by del y at y is equals to 0 divided by
Ts minus
S
T
minus
infinity.
T infinity. So again, in this expression, we replace these parameters, these non-dimensional parameters. I think this color will be fine. So these things. The green enclosure. So again, we put it here. What we would find is that it becomes K by L. It is after just replacement of this T by T star and this relation, Y with this relation. What we would find that it becomes this at Y star is equals to 0. H is equals to this. Now, if we just rearrange this expression, it is nothing but HL by K is equals to which is Nusselt number. So that means what it tells that Nusselt number can also be defined as the non-dimensional temperature gradient at the surface. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
Which means if you calculate Nusselt number, you basically are calculating heat transfer coefficient. Isn't it? So this is the importance of Nusselt number, or this is how you physically understand the utility of Nusselt number. That Nusselt number is essentially the non-dimensional temperature gradient at the wall. So it truly represents the dimensionless heat transfer coefficient. Dimensionless heat transfer coefficient. Fine. So now that means we have two things. That one is Nusselt number Nusselt number is a function of x, Reynolds number and Prandtl number. Do you agree this or not? But it is a function of X, Reynolds number and temperature. Any doubt? Because I have skipped intermediate step. I didn't tell you. But can you understand that point? That why after this step I wrote this one? It is the same logic. It is the same logic that I gave you while writing this step. This step. See, those who didn't get it. The point is, I have written, we know that the non-dimensional temperature is a function of this. So when we take its gradient at y is equals to 0, so quite naturally it would be function of X, Reynolds number and PR, or the Prandtl number. And its gradient is essentially a Nusselt number. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So that means we have here two things. One is this one, the Nusselt number, which is a function of the local position, Reynolds number, Prandtl number, and the friction coefficient, which is a function of the local position and the Reynolds number. So if we try to find out that what is the average friction coefficient and average Nusselt number, quite simply, it would be a function of Reynolds number, say F4, a different function, and Nusselt number would be a function of Reynolds number and Prandtl number. Because eventually we have to integrate these to have the average throughout the domain. Integrate with respect to X. And then this X function would be gone. So the functional form is essentially, or are essentially, these two. The friction coefficient is the average friction coefficient. These are the average values. That the average values of the friction coefficient is a function of Reynolds number. The average Nusselt number is a function of Reynolds number and Prandtl number. Now these two have very useful meaning. Because now, depending on the flow position or flow orientation or flow condition, several experiments are done in order to find out the heat transfer coefficient, because that is what we are doing in convection. We have to find what is H, that is it. Which means we have to find what is Nusselt number. Now that means you'd see in future that people will write Nusselt number in various forms. That Reynolds number to the power m and Prandtl number to the power n. A simple power law function that corroborates well with our theoretical understanding. That y Nusselt number can be only function of Reynolds number and Prandtl number, the average. Because they do then experiment, the researchers do the experiments to find out or to relate this Nusselt number and Prandtl number with the Nusselt number, Reynolds number and Prandtl number. and then they find out what is the this function coefficient, which depends on the geometry, is a constant value. M and N are the indices that typically varies between 0 to 1 and takes different form in different situations. Okay. So, okay, I will stop here. Tomorrow, I will state the analogy between this momentum and heat transfer. That means, say, our objective is what in convection analysis, particularly say in forced convection.
To find
H. Okay. Or in other words, what is the relation between the friction and the H, the friction coefficient and the heat transfer coefficient? If you are given with any one of the values, whether you can calculate the other one in forced convection, because there the friction would be sufficient. Okay, so that means we have to find out a relation between CF and NU. What is the relation? That if this friction coefficient value is known to you, whether you can calculate Nusselt number for that problem. And that is the analogy between this is the momentum part, this is the heat transfer part. Okay, so this small thing we'll learn in the next class and solve a couple of problems. So till this point, any question anyone has?
Yes, sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Sir,
Right.
you wrote the relation for del theta by del eta. Sir, how did you
Del
get
T.
it? Yes, after converting it in terms of theta.
Which one can you specifically? So the relation this
By del eta at equal to 0 is 0.332 Prandtl's number per 1 by 3.
Oh, acha. This one. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what is
So okay. So this is what I told you in the last class, that is called the Brescius solution. Classical Brescius solve that problem. Okay. So it's basically the solution of this non-dimensional equation. Analytical solution can be done, or in fact the numerical solutions also can be done for various Prandtl numbers. And after doing that, it has been seen that typical dependence of del theta by del eta for the range Prandtl number greater than 0.6 is this one.
So what is
So for
eta
different
standing for?
detailed solution, you can look into the textbook, but typically
Sir,
in most of the
what is
undergraduate
eta?
the eta is also a non-dimensional parameter.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so eta is basically has this form. Let me write since you are interested. So eta is basically is the y root over of this kind of mu x. So it is basically, you can think of it is a dimensionless similarity parameter, the similarity analysis that you have done in fluid mechanics.
Okay, sir.
And then it is related with stream function. So there are several complications up there. We have not gone into the details. Okay, so yeah, it's not trivial basically, but the point is that it has been shown by the researchers, with that several research papers and all. Yeah, any other question? Yeah, Sharvi, you were saying something? You raised your hand. Sharvi Jain? Anyone else?
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, go
Sir,
ahead.
how we wrote Nusselt number is equal to 0.332 into Prandtl number to the power 1 by 3 into Reynolds number to the power 1 by 2, that equation. And from that, how we derive that dou T by dou is equal to 1 upon Prandtl number to the power 1 by 3. And that is the hydrodynamic boundary layer and thermodynamic boundary layer thickness relation between those two.
Just a second, which one is this? Which equation you are telling is that?
So this Nusselt number is equal to
this one.
0.332.
This one, right? Yeah,
that one.
right. So this is the thing that I told just Samira, that we have not gone into the details of this theoretical solution, but the point is that once you get this expression, I mean, you can get this expression basically after the solution, that d theta by d eta is 0.332 Prandtl number to the power 1/3 for the range of Prandtl number greater than 0.6. Then what we do basically, this Nusselt number is that what we have seen, that del t by del y at y is equals to 0. That essentially is the Nusselt number.
Yes.
Okay, so there we basically put this one. So because this theta means it's in a form of temperature, because theta has been written in terms of temperature. Did you get my point? So this del dou theta is essentially dou t with some extended form.
Okay, sir.
And it is essentially the Nusselt number.
And the next equation, dou t by dou is equal to 1 upon PR to the power 1 by 3. That also came from the solution of the differential
That
equation.
also came from the solution of this equation, this energy equation. That you
Okay.
solve for the temperature profile, and the definition of arising at del T is that when T minus T infinity divided by Ts minus T infinity is 99% of T infinity.
Okay, I got it.
That is the definition of the thermal boundary layer. That when that ratio reaches the 99% of, or basically is the 0.99, this fraction. This ratio becomes 0.99. So based on that temperature profile, you are finding out T here from this expression. So you can find out, it's again complicated, but it can be shown that del T is basically the 1/3 of Prandtl number to the power 1/3, say Prandtl number to the power minus 1/3 multiplied by the hydrodynamic boundary layer.
Sir, one question.
Any other question? Yeah, please, Jay.
Sir, in the
Go ahead.
energy equation, what is that small f?
It is the function. It is to show that it is the function. Those are the functions.
No, sir, in that the equation which we saw just now, Prandtl number into f is there in that.
Prandtl number
Into f into dou t by del theta by del n. The equation which we saw just now.
So okay, okay. So it is again. It is a function. I understand. So Yeah, this one, right? No, this is the function. Oh, this one. This f is right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this f is again related to the similarity variable that relates with the stream function. So f again has a form. Is something like this is a stream function. This mu x y infinity. So these are basically, let me tell you. So stream function is sorry, the relation is this y, and v is equals to minus of this thing. Where this psi is called the stream function. So in order to, as I mentioned, in order to solve this energy equation, several similarity parameter has been introduced or incorporated by Blasius and is solved it analytically. And that analytical detailed solutions, we are not going into that part. But the point is that the reason I wrote this expression in order to show that it would form a non-dimensional, it would have a non-dimensional form consisting Prandtl number. So this is how in energy equation, the Prandtl number is inducted or it appears. Like here later, I also showed you when we non-dimensionalize the term, that if we replace these values or non-dimensional variables in the energy equations, we achieve this Prandtl number. Any other question? Okay, then I stop here. We already overshoot the time. You have the next class. So yeah, if there is no other questions, I am then stopping the recording.